Earlier this week, my son, 5-year-old Gabriel, he's been running around, running more than I would prefer, asked me as I was reading the newspaper, as I often do you like newspapers better or sunny skies? And he's never asked me or even acknowledged that he noticed how much I read the newspaper. And that was the first time he said it. And I'm like, I'm going to use this. And I told him, that's really tough. I really love both. And if you know me, you know that I love journalism. I love also sunny skies, by the way. And one of the most inspiring stories that I got to see unfold here in Loudoun County happened in a newsroom in downtown Leesburg about 8 years ago. I wanted it to be a made-for-TV movie, but no one took me up on it, so we'll stick with this. So it was Election Day, which in journalism, that is the Super Bowl. We were ready. And in Loudoun County, a purple county in a purple state, look out. And that morning, we had polls to cover. The governor was in town for a final campaign stop. Just a huge rash of here are the photos we need, the articles we need. And the owner of the company said, hey guys, we're having an all company meeting in the newsroom. I was a little salty. Our news team had things to do. We didn't have time for an all company meeting in the conference room, but whatever. So I went, or we had to go, and we walked in and saw that the owner of the newspaper had flown in from Texas to tell us that he had sold Leesburg Today to our rival newspaper across town, many of whom you may know. And no surprise there, the gentleman who owned that paper was closing us down at the end of the day. And I said, where's Gabriel? With potential colorful language, at the end of the day. And he said, oh yeah, we want one more newspaper out of you. We want one more issue. So I was deputy editor, so I said, all right, team, let's go back up to the newsroom. And we sat around for a second. Reporters, I was one of 6 journalists at that publication, and one of the guys who hadn't been there too long, one of the reporters said, let's get the F out of here. We don't owe that guy anything. And we all got quiet and just kind of thought for a second, what are we gonna do? And then 70-year-old British reporter Margaret Morton said with gusto, broke the silence, let's give Loudoun County the best goddamn election coverage they've ever seen. I was like, yeah. If you've met Margaret, you know that it was actually a little feistier than goddamned, but again, so that's what we did. That team went out, covered, not only was covering the election, but also covering, we needed an article on the cover saying we were closing the publication, or we had been sold. So just calls all day, just madness. And it was after, actually, Norman Steyer, the editor-in-chief of that newspaper, texted me a photo yesterday, a 4:30 a.m. timestamp, and it's us sending to press the last issue of Leesburg Today. So that was that next day. And then we all went home. And over the next couple of days, people in the community, some of whom are here tonight, reached out to Norman and us to say, gosh, what can be done? Is there anything we can do? And finally, Norm met with several of those community leaders, business leaders around a conference table, and they just thought, okay, so we've got this group of reporters, we have photojournalists, we have page designers, we have experienced ad reps, and we have a community of advertisers who value smart, balanced community journalism because it makes our county better. Is that just all lost now? Or could we build something better? Could we build a community-owned newspaper that wasn't owned by a guy in Texas? And all of a sudden, checks started being floated across the table to Norman. Some wrote checks, some offered free office space, some offered design work or photography work, whatever they could. One guy offered his web designer. I was like, here's a web guy. And suddenly, in that meeting that morning, Loudoun Now was born. 24 hours later, Norman Steyer publisher and editor-in-chief of Loudoun Now, gathered his team in the back of Dirt Farm Brewery. And we sat around the table. Some of the reporters I'd known and worked with at Leesburg Today, some Norman had worked with years before and I had never met. One photojournalist, Douglas Graham, had covered the county as a photojournalist for Loudoun Times-Mirror, then went off to the Post and AP, and now he missed his county. He was at the table. More than 200 years of journalism experience around that table. And together, over beer, we planned the first issue of Loudoun Now. And within 1 week of the previous publication closing, every Loudounner got a brand new community-owned newspaper in their mailbox and on the website in less than a week. Awesome. Yeah. So I would love everyone who has been a part of Loudoun Now, would you please stand? Nice. Renz Green, Hannah's current reporter. Renz and I were in the early team, and just thank you all so much. And I know there's a lot of folks in this room who have supported both through advertising, both through donations, and most recently, Loudoun Now became a nonprofit, which is huge. That means they can now take tax-deductible donations. So the proceeds tonight will go to Loudoun Now. Tom will share a little bit more of how you can support them. So thank you all so much.